We are live on the Information Super Highway Glorious Time Zones to all, and I am here by myself for my first ever solo podcast. I've done many hours of podcasting in my time, but never done a solo podcast. So this will be an interesting situation. Our good buddy Tezz isn't very well today. So he said he couldn't really do tonight's podcast recording. It is Thursday, the 28th of August. So I thought I'll still do a podcast. I mean, I like the sound of my own voice, so at least I'll be happy listening back to the podcast and making myself laugh at my own jokes. So that'd be at least one happy listener that I'll give 5 stars to this review. But thank you very much for everyone to checking out the podcast. I thought I'd just jump on, record like a little audio podcast. Just sort of say how things are going, really. I really appreciate like how everyone's been checking out Nothing But a Good Podcast, and you know, this whole journey that we've been going on with Nothing But a Good Time is wild. Me and Tezz were going to talk about tonight sort of like how I actually ended up getting into theatre stuff. The last few episodes we've been talking about, you know, we spoke about the Voodoo Vegas behind the scenes stuff with like Bions and all that nonsense, and how much it costs to run an unsigned band. And then we spoke to Rachel last week, and she was saying about how, you know, she went through a completely different path and got into doing theatre and stuff. And then, you know, how I ended up getting into it. But I think I'll get into that conversation with Tezz. But it's quite wild, really, like being at this stage of Nothing But a Good Time. Like, where are we? Like, just under 4 months? No, I think just over 4 months since our first show. That was April 19th in Mountsorrel, and it's been such an education as to how this world works, and the different ways venues work with you as well, and all this different stuff and these different paths you take. And it's very much more what I've found probably since doing this. I mean, I'll just use this like island trip we're going on, for example. Back in the day when Voodoo Vegas would get, like, we went to Ireland 2 or 3 times to play. And I remember getting the gig, and I just messaged the guys, "Hey guys, we're going to Ireland. We got a gig. Should we go on September such and such?" And it'd be like 60 quid each to fly there, and then we can, you know, borrow gear and just play. And of course, when I started Nothing But a Good Time, we had our promo ready sort of start of October last year, and we were firing it out. And of course, I'm firing it out to all these places, and I thought, let's try and go to Belfast and Ireland. Fired it out. And of course, this venue, Mandela Hall, got in contact with us and said they were interested in booking us. I mean, yeah. And I was like, guys, we're going to go to Ireland to play. And should we do it on August 30th? Let's go to Ireland. And they were like, yeah, let's go. And of course, the complete difference with this whole thing compared to Voodoo Vegas going is like, essentially, it's a bit of like a business, isn't it? We're trying to setting up this show as a business, and you sort of forget you got the musician side of me going like, yeah, I want to go and play these gigs, let's go. But you've also got the business side of it, which is wild. So you've got to sell tickets, you've got to work out logistics, what sort of, if you guys have seen the Nothing But a Good Time show, you know, we have the amplifiers that we've got with all the lights in them and stuff like that, and you know, bringing the instruments across to Ireland and everything that is involved in that. It's wild to be in this different situation of like, back in the day we'd be like, yeah, let's just go to Ireland and play, and now this is like the business side of it, how much money it costs and the pressure of selling tickets. I think hopefully, I mean, we'll find out, we'll find out in due course. I mean, we are 9 days away from the gig at the Mandela Hall, and tickets have actually really picked up in this last week. I mean, so fingers crossed we get to an amount that we need to at least be able to pay for the trip. We had a bit of a nightmare today because, of course, me and John, basically our plan to go to Ireland in this next weekend is that Jason, Jono, Merrill and Teresa are going to be flying from Southampton into Belfast, hiring a car and driving down to Dublin for our first gig next Friday. John and me are going to drive my van all the way from the south coast of England, all the way up through England, into Wales, catch the ferry, and go and play in Ireland. And we were looking at the crossings, and of course, to go across the Irish Sea, there's lots of different ways to go. And we were looking at one was at Holyhead to go into Dublin, 2-hour crossing. It's not bad, is it? 2 hours. Bit of a drive to get to Holyhead from South Coast. But of course, now I was just about to book the ferry tonight before we decided to. So yeah, I was just about to book the ferry before doing this podcast. And I was looking into it and I was thinking, okay, yeah, we'll do that trip. Goes into Dublin. Of course, the trouble is that's in the EU. And it isn't as simple as, let's just go to Dublin, because it's got all the things that are involved with the carnets and everything to go into Dublin in a van. So we were absolutely not panicked. We were just like, oh no, because we've realised now we're going to have to go to Liverpool next Thursday. So a week today as we're recording this. Drive to Liverpool in the morning and then catch an 8-hour ferry over to Belfast. So we go into the island of Ireland. Via Britain, and then we won't have to do the carnet. So we're going to have to do an 8-hour ferry next week from Liverpool, with the drive from Poole, where we all live, up to Liverpool on a ferry. It's a wild, and like these are the sort of things you don't realise when you're saying let's go play in Ireland. It's it's completely different than back in the day, and the pressure of all the selling the tickets, And I'll be honest, it's such a shame, the difference of, how Brexit has massively affected travelling for musicians and the carnets and things, and trying to work your way around it. Because like I said, we're going to have to do an 8-hour ferry journey now across the Irish Sea next week. It's absolutely brutal. I mean, it's going to be horrendous. But the good thing is we will probably record a podcast, me and John, from the ferry, which might be interesting. But yeah, the Brexit thing has completely messed up the travel. Back in the day, Voodoo Vegas, with one of our many different vans, and all these stories I've told from traveling with Voodoo Vegas, we'd often do our day jobs on the Thursday. I'd clean the van out if I was using it for my day job, for my gardening business. Clean the van out, jump in the van, and then we'd boot all the way to Dover, catch a ferry late at night, stay in Calais. There's a big supermarket near Calais. I'll buy a baguette with some peanut butter. Then we drive up to our next gig the next day. And it was so easy. No paperwork. You could just do it. Oh, man. I wish it was those days again, because it would open us. It's messed it up so much for travelling for bands, the Brexit thing. It's a real shame. And of course, we can't really do that now, because you've got to, like we are with this island trip, have to go into Northern Ireland with a monster ferry journey. You have to do carnets and all this paperwork just to be able to go over and ship all your gear. It's an absolute nightmare, and I think you have to pay per carnet. So it's really messed it up for bands. And oh, how I wish we could have the days of without the Brexit and without the carnet for travelling for bands. It was the best of times, and I'd love to have it so easy like it was for Nothing But a Good Time, like what we had with Voodoo Vegas. Funny thing was, when Brexit happened, Voodoo Vegas what was that vote? 2016, I believe. We were actually playing at a festival. We played on Thursday night in Holland, and we stayed at an Airbnb or something like that. And that's when the vote was being cast, I think. And then the Friday, the vote came in. Of course, we lost the vote. No, whatever the vote. It was leave the EU. And we were actually in Holland having breakfast at this hotel thing we were staying at. And we drove up to Mountsorrel in North Germany to go and play a festival called Let the Bad Times Roll. It was miles away. The only bit of Germany that's got a coast. Festival was wicked, like a rock festival. Really, really cool. And a really awesome gig it was. Crowd really pumped. But I remember getting there. And of course, we're the only British band playing, turning up to this festival. And we were asked by the press, like, what's going on? Why did you do it? Like, the amount of people who were like saying to us, why did you do it? It's like, we had nothing to do with it. I mean, that would have been 9 years ago now when that all came through, that vote. And it's really affected things for bands, and it's just such a shame. But it's happened now. Hopefully it becomes easier for traveling, because I mean, the music industry is such a big industry, and I'm sure a lot of bands going and traveling don't want to have to do this paperwork. But we'll see. Meryl, me, and Jason in January went over to Belgium to play 2 shows for a show called Bootleg 80s. We were sort of asked to just jump on it for a few shows, and we went and did that for some great guys, Tony and Arthur, and some of the people who were on the former show I used to perform in. Because Meryl and Jason performed on that show, and everyone left, and we sort of went and did this Bootleg 80s thing for 3 shows. It wasn't like our band; it was just going to play these songs, and such a great time going to play in Europe. And that was a great time. But the carnets and all the paperwork that was involved just for that stuff was a real nightmare. But it is what it is, and I just hope going forward it can open up a door for Nothing But a Good Time to go abroad and play some more foreign gigs, because it's some of the best times, and there's a big world out there. Let's go out and perform in Europe more. But it's been a great ride. I think, like I'm saying, for Nothing But a Good Time. We're 4 months since our first gig, and it's a lot of work, but I'm really fired up to try and make Nothing But a Good Time the best rock show in the country. And I know everyone in the band or the show is that as well. We want to really make sure we make this be the best rock show going. I appreciate all you guys listening to this as well. Thank you. I always get comments about saying, "Oh, everyone's checked out the podcast." I mean, this is a weird one. I've never done a podcast by myself. I've done a lot of game streaming on Twitch during lockdown, but of course, I'd be talking to the game. I'd be sort of, "Oh, look, there's a flower in the game." So this is me just talking to the camera right now. I've never done a podcast by myself. It's quite interesting. We'll see. I'll see what it sounds like after I listen to this. If I put it up, you'll think, "Oh, actually, Lawrence must have thought that was all right." Yeah, no. 4 months into doing Nothing But a Good Time, and we've had lots of learning experiences through it. We're working with some good people. It's interesting how the venues are different. Some venues, I would say, have a more modern outlook on how to connect to an audience. And some venues, in my opinion, are probably set in their ways a little bit more. I won't name any names of the venues, but a venue we recently played at, we went to hand out flyers before the show. We thought we'd go down and hand flyers out around the town. And the box office was closed all day. It was open from like 11 till 12 and then closed until 45 minutes before showtime. It's wild that happened because, of course, people were interested in coming to that night's show. And can buy tickets because we had a flyer and there was an offer to get like a $5 off the tickets or something like that. So man, it's the difference in the venues, and it's such a learning curve. This whole Nothing But a Good Time process. You've got I'm torn as like Lawrence the musician who wants to go out and just play gigs and front a rock band. Let's go. And of course, it's a business too, and everything that's involved in that. But I think we'll do all right, and like I said, we're working hard to try and make Nothing But a Good Time be the best rock show in the country. And, we all really love this music. Very much so. We ain't just doing it for, like, a job, reading it off an iPad or whatever it is. A few of these gigs we've played, we've not got many beans in our pockets, but some of the gigs have been really successful for us as well. So it's just a building process to, use the methods we learn in Voodoo Vegas to because I think one of the things I sort of hung my hat on when I had the seed of the idea doing Nothing But a Good Time was that a lot of the bands and shows I'd seen didn't do any organic connections with people who became fans of your band or however it would be. They would just do the gig and go home. And it was always wild for me because I thought, there's a lot of people here and they've had a great night. Let's try and build a community of people who are into the band, into the show, into the people in the band. And the previous gig I did, the theatre show I was on, they wouldn't even say who I was. And not that I'm bothered. That's not something I wasn't bothered about people necessarily knowing who I was. But in my mind, it was like, well, these guys, everyone's come here to spend money and they want to see the show. You know, and they enjoyed the show. And I always thought like a great way to connect with people was be open. And, you know, so I've always thought with Nothing But a Good Time, you know, unlike some other shows, maybe that might be like singer number 1, guitarist number 3. Like, it's not that. We're a group of people who love this music and want to go play some cool shows in front of everyone and build this band as big as we can. And, you know, play this music because we love it with the passion and energy it deserves. And, you know, we rehearsed for like 6 months on this show. I know the previous thing I did, they just go and practice for like one day before reading it off an iPad and stuff. And, you know, however good of a musician you are, you're never going to make it tight, and, you know, and have the energy. Just have a sip of water. I'm doing all this talking and you have a sip of water. Sorry, podcast listeners. Yes. So like, I'm hoping that we can keep building on what we've done. I think we've done 11 gigs so far, and some festivals. Really working hard to get some festivals for next summer. Last October, I think our promo was done the second weekend of October last year, something like that. So we started sending it out straight away and trying to get as many gigs as possible. And of course, I think we were a bit late for festivals, so we got about a 5-6 week head start on applying for festivals. So it's like, fill that calendar next summer with festivals, because they're great gigs to do. I love playing outside, alfresco gigs as I call them. So fingers crossed we get some of those gigs. You never know. We obviously got we'll have a bit of gig history behind us. People can check out what we're doing as well, which is good, and photos and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm fingers crossed we get some festivals. Fingers crossed Ireland goes well next week, the 2 Ireland dates. And then the week after, we're actually playing a hometown gig in Poole at St. Peter's Church. Absolutely beautiful building. It's amazing. I've never played a gig in a church in all the gigs I've played, and I'm really looking forward to playing at St. Peter's Church. It's across the road from an old venue that used to be here in Poole called Mr. Kipps, which was an incredible venue. A guy called Mark Kipp ran it, and sadly the venue closed in 2008. And I remember when we started doing the band, this is way back when we started, it was always like, God, play at Mr. Kipps. You've got to get in and play at Mr. Kipps. And I remember Voodoo Vegas in our real infancy played a Battle of the Bands in a little place in Dorset called Blandford. And Mr. Kipp was the judge. And he recognised me because I was always going in going, oh, can you book an hours for tribute? So I was that guy going in. And he recognised me from that. And I can't remember what happened about the bands, but he recognised me. So give me a call. So I gave him a call in the week, and he got us a gig with a American guitarist called Adam Bomb. That guy was weird. If any of you guys want to see a weird guitarist guy, good guitarist, but a very strange guy. And our paths would cross about 10 years later in Nice as well. Then we played down there. But yeah, we always played at this Mr. Kipps where you got in there playing it with this guy. Adam Bomb supported him, and it was always the venue you always wanted to play in. And I think from that year, 2004, 2005, this is when we first started playing music. So it's well early. Some people who've probably seen Nothing But a Good Time might not have even been born when that happened. Some of the students at that Leicester race course, definitely not. Yeah, it was the early days. And now it's great that St. Peter's Church, because Mr. Kipps had to close in 2018, they built on it, and it was a listed building, put like flats and things onto the building. And St. Peter's Church is literally like you literally get a tennis ball and chuck it from the old Mr. Kipps and hit the giant church. So I'm really pumped to go and play down in Ashley Cross again, and get all your friends and family to come, and it's gonna be awesome. Really looking forward to that gig, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a good show. And then we've got a few other gigs going into this year. So we're actually that weekend. What are we doing? Yeah, we're playing Poole on Friday, playing a festival Crocs Fest on the Saturday, and then we're going to Belgium. So we've actually had to avoid the carnet for that by just flying over from Stansted on the Sunday. So it's wild. Like, we're trying to run this show that you've got to be like a business, but also run it like a band. Like, just trying to play as many shows as possible. So we're going over to Belgium to play in Brie to play the Metal Babes Female Rock Metal Babes Festival. so it's female-fronted band. So of course Tezz is going to sing in it. And of course we've got Meryl on stage all the time. So I don't know if I have to wear a dress or anything when I sing the songs when Tezz is not on stage. I'll have to find out. I've got some clothes that might be suitable, but probably not. I probably won't wear a dress because that'd be weird. That won't really suit me. I'm like 6'3" and all gangly. But anyway, that's something you won't see on a Nothing But a Good Time set. I won't wear a dress. But yeah, no, it's going to be cool. And then I'm looking forward to going to Belgium again. It's just for this guy with like this show and just going play a rockin' weekend. So 3 shows, and we got 5 gigs in 2 weekends actually coming up from next weekend. So it's going to be a very busy time on the podcast front. Of course, John and me, like I said, have got hours and hours of traveling to do next week. Sort of 6 hours, 5 hours up to Liverpool, 8 hours on a ferry, a night hanging in Dublin, Belfast until the guys fly over on the Friday. So I think while we're over there, John and me will try and do a podcast, I think, and see how that goes. Discuss, Food of Vegas history, how John feels about Nothing But a Good Time. Maybe do a couple of episodes of Nothing But a Good podcast while we're on the road, which would be quite cool. But yeah, it's been going good. I mean, thanks for everyone for checking out this podcast. Thanks for all the reviews. It's great as well because new people who see the show check out the podcast as well, which is really good. So I've always thought like run both in time. I was debating whether to do a podcast today. Of course, it really needs to be a 2-way conversation. I'm sort of just talking to myself. But like, I wanted to do it. I didn't want to not do a show. So I've got this. I'll put this one out tomorrow morning on Friday. I don't know what the date is. Friday 22nd, it will go out. So I'll put that out tomorrow morning as a little mini podcast. And next week we probably won't have a midweek podcast dropping on the Thursday, Friday, because John and me will be traveling. So we'll get everything ready while we're over there. You never know. I might have so much time and I can log in and maybe I can upload a podcast while we're away, but it might be hard to edit it. So I'll see. And but yeah, we'll record a podcast while John and me are away, which would be good. Just have a sip of tea. Sorry if you could hear that on the microphone. That'd be gross. And yeah, we'll get that going. Record some podcasts while we're in Ireland, and keep a lookout on our Nothing But a Good Time Facebook. And also, if you guys are about and you haven't joined it yet, please come and join the Nothing But a Good Time community page on Facebook. I'm trying to build a bit like when I had the Discord when I was streaming, and just a bit more of a community where people can chat if there's a new song out by a band or things like that. Just have a little chat about stuff. Less sort of self-promotion about stuff, more chatting and things. The page essentially is for promoting. So that'd be really cool. I think we've got about 350 people in there. It's only been going about 3 or 4 weeks. That's quite cool. Grow that a bit more. So please do come and join that group. Also, if any of you guys are interested as well, want to get any of our Nothing But a Good Time t-shirts for any of the shows, if you go onto our website, nothingbutagoodtime.co.uk, there's a merchandise tab. And if you use the code, oh no, my thing stopped. Oh no, I thought my screen turned it off. I haven't used the mouse. Podcaster by yourself. So if you go onto our website and you type live 10 click on the merchandise tab, pick something and type live 10 on the tab, you actually get 10% off. So if anyone wants to get any t-shirts for any of our upcoming gigs, helps out the band, helps fun Nothing But a Good Time, helps it grow and stuff. So please do go and check that out. But I'll just do a brief podcast. I don't want to keep talking because I need to, this was the first little tester of me talking by myself. And I just thought I'd have a bit of a chat on the microphone. I'll put it out tomorrow morning, and I hope you guys like it. I'm sure Tezz will be back soon as well. Best wishes to Tezz. Hope he feels better. Get well soon, Tezz. And look out next week. We'll do some podcasting from Ireland, John and me. And look out on all our social media as well for some posts and all that sort of stuff. If you have checked out this podcast and you liked it and didn't think, oh God, this is boring from Lawrence, please do go and give it a review on Spotify and Apple. Just click 5 stars is always great. If you're listening to on YouTube as well, please just hit the like button on this video. Brief little podcast here. Thank you everyone for checking it out. Sorry Tezz wasn't here. Get well soon, Tezz. And thank you everyone who is becoming part of our Nothing But a Good Time community. Much love to all of you, and we will see you guys on the flippity flop. Goodbye.